What's going on, B1 family? So before this month ends, I saw this and I was like, when I'm gonna drop it on Sunday, now I'm gonna drop it tonight. Our sister Brooke, y'all know she's a rider for sure, solid sister. I saw one of her videos and she says something that I thought would have been commonplace, but it makes sense to say it. We're at a state of being where we need to start tightening up in-house. And what she had to say was a mouthful.
So before you hand over your information, understand your lineage at this point. You see how the Ghanaians are trying to insert themselves into our DNA? Do you see them trying to insert themselves into the lineage? Stop posting your proof. People are watching. People are taking notes of your proof, and they are making plans to assume your identity because they want to scam you out of your birthright. They will attempt, and this is for the Bible people in here today. They are going to get that lamb skin and put it on their arm and go before their father and steal your birthright. That lamb skin, and pretend that they are you in front of the person that doles out the birthright. So when you are posting your census forms, you are posting your death records, you are posting pictures of your family members, there are people watching because I've heard them talking. They are screenshotting. They will attempt to steal treat your lineage like your social security number. Hold that to the vest. Don't show it. Don't give it to nobody. I was in the space the other day. They started asking me questions. I told them I don't answer no questions. I don't have to answer to you. My lineage is verified for me, not for you. So when you're giving people the evidence to who you are also giving them the ability to blackmail you with it, to strong arm you with it, and to steal your birthright.
Now, this is very true. This is very true, because I remember a brother who's in cybersecurity. He's out of Ruston, Louisiana, my brother Henry Davis. He was talking about how, he doesn't friend the Indians because quiet as kept. Yeah, they got some guys who are IT, but a lot of them don't know that shit. They'll chat GPT, Asians included, their cousins included. They'll chat GPT all that nonsense and literally be in the middle of an interview. There's countless videos online. In the middle of an interview, chat GPT and all answers. So she'll ask questions, chat GPT, here's the question, and then he answers back. And they do that. So if they're willing to do that, and my point to he said he doesn't friend them like on LinkedIn, is because they'll go and see all your credentials, put it on their stuff, and because they're tethers, they'll get the nod and they'll want to bring them in instead of a black man from the soil like our brother Henry Davis. And shout out to him, he's textual chatter. If you want to know about tech, you want to see what's going on in the tech space, go check that brother's channel out. All right. At times I do feel like, I just want to run down my ancestry and be like, hey man, my family, whoop, 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 from here. But she's right. That's for me to know. To keep tethers from glomming on to us, we can't just delineate. We got to delineate, and we got to keep our mouths closed about pertinent information. You don't need to know that. That's when you know. But first off, who the fuck is you? You're a tether. You don't get to come here and call rough shot. What? You ain't running nothing. You running from your homeland. That's what you're doing. You're fleeing. But you don't get to come here and tell me, hey, well, where you from? And how do we? No. I got my documentation. I know where I'm from. I know how far back it goes. And I'm not finna give you a blueprint to try to sell your story. Because remember, I'm from Atlanta. I'm from Ohio. They call all these places Which a whole bunch of black folk, that's where they want to say they're from. If they start seeing our lineage in detail, then they can start running down, well, I'm from here and here and here and here and here and here. That's a whole different level of cosplay, and we got to be responsible to stop that in its tracks. And another thing I noticed was, reason why I say I got to do this video today, there's a white boy by the name of, I think, John Doyle. And he was saying that the CIA putting crack in our neighborhoods is largely false. Exposing Black History Myths, Part 20. So while we are pushing tethers out, and then we also got tethers trying to find their way back in, we have white supremacists trying to rewrite our history, our lived experiences. You see what they did with George Washington Carver, because it don't make sense. How you have 300 use cases for the peanut, but you can't make something as simple as peanut butter? Some Canadian white dude did it? The math don't math on that. It don't make sense. That's the one thing you couldn't do. One of the most, all these other use cases could be medicinal, could be industrial, but a peanut butter sandwich, peanut butter and jelly, that's nationwide. That's just about every household. And he couldn't do that. With this AI and this chat GPT and Google and stuff, they are going to start swapping out our history. Not only we got the tether on the Destiny swap, the white supremacists that control these tech spaces can insert themselves and say, oh, well, we did it. So you go to Google and you go look and you say, wait, that don't make sense. I don't remember it that way. And then you start to doubt yourself. Well, maybe I'm wrong. That's why going forward, anytime I deal with anything that's part of our history, I'm going to include it in the videos going forward. There's a sister who I'm going to try to remember to, she has a YouTube channel, older sister. She talks about all our FBA greats that created all these amazing, wonderful inventions. I'm going to include her, and I'm trying to remember to put her channel down here because I know she got a Facebook page, but I also think she has a YouTube channel. So if she does, I'm make sure to include it in the description, below the like button. Yeah, I said that. If not, I'll try to make sure I put her TikTok or Facebook up there so you can check her out and support her. So we need to keep regurgitating our history. Dang my phone, man. Dang my phone. But we got to do it because we let them do it. They'll start slipping these random weird white folk we have never heard of, never seen into our history. Don't think that people ain't working 24/7 to find a way to out and out push us out of reparations and that's black hate crime bill. They are working 24/7 around the clock. We got tethers on one side. We got the white supremacists on the other side. And yeah, we got still a few coons in the mix trying to sneak and lurk around and oh, what we gonna do today? You know what I'm saying? So we have to be fully cognizant at all times and be vigilant at all times to shut it down.
6 with this journalist Gary Webb's Dark Alliance. Day 20 of exposing black history because it didn't even happen. So like in literally any conversation about crime, poverty, drugs within the black community in America, you're definitely going to hear that it was actually the CIA which deliberately flooded black America with these drugs because obviously systemic racism. It's in rap lyrics, celebrities talk about it all the time, black activists talk about it all the time. It's just like some collective piece of knowledge like, oh yeah, you know, the sky's blue. Turns out it's a lie. Okay, so this all goes back to 1996 with this journalist Gary Webb's Dark Alliance series in the San Jose Mercury News. So essentially he said that CIA-backed Nicaraguan Contras were selling cocaine in Los Angeles to fund rebel groups fighting Sandinistas, with the profits from that creating the crack epidemic in black America. Freeway Rick Ross, the big dealer, supposedly linked the whole thing together. Now the series was already overstating connections and ignoring contradictions, and it was actually ended by his editors for sloppy fact-checking, like the editors admitted it was just hype. So Webb resigns and his career suffers, but then he would go on to publish a book alleging that the CIA specifically targeted black neighborhoods in Los Angeles as like the end point of this whole plot line of his. But the media was already all over this. It was all over the news. All the headlines were screaming about a crack plot to target black America. Everybody was freaking out. So there were several investigations done by the local police, state officials, even Congress itself. And the Justice Department report indicated that there were 2 major drug dealers in Los Angeles who had close ties to the CIA and were probably supplied by the CIA, but they were not the ones to introduce crack cocaine, nor were they even the biggest dealers in the neighborhood. code. Then the House Select Committee report said no, actually, while the two drug dealers in question did have tenuous contact with CIA-affiliated individuals, most notably like one smuggler that the CIA bailed out like one time, they mostly had non-CIA suppliers, and it was unclear how much of their drugs had even come from these CIA-related sources in the first place. So Freeway Ricky Ross did buy cocaine from Danilo Blondin, a trafficker with Contra ties, and Blondin also had contact with individuals who interacted with CIA-connected networks, but investigations found no evidence that the CIA directed these sales, targeted specific neighborhoods, or orchestrated the crack epidemic. And Blondin sold a lot of drugs to a lot of people, and Ross was not a CIA asset. He was already operating in an expanding and highly competitive drug market in Los Angeles, along with a bunch of other people. Some cocaine traffickers linked to the Contras did move some drugs into the US, which at the time was the largest and most profitable drug market in the world. But again, what's the scale? The amount of cocaine that can be connected to these networks is nothing compared to the massive overflow of drugs already entering into the US at the time. So yeah, even if you take all of the drugs that actually can be linked, however loosely, to the CIA, the idea that this is responsible for the LA crack scene, forget about the entire crack epidemic in America. Even just LA, I don't know about that. It was shown to not even be dominant in LA. That's where the story is supposed to be taking place. What a game of telephone. I mean, that's a much different story than the CIA targeting and flooding black communities all throughout the country with crack to keep them broke and poor and in jail and unhealthy. Like, apparently they were just doing that actually to their own communities, but I can see why we might want to avoid having that conversation. Just blame the government instead. Truth matters. Probably do not smoke crack.
I let y'all hear it all the way through. All the way through. So here's my problem, because I listened to it, and this was on Facebook. I just happened to see it, and I was like, huh. And at first I was pissed. I'm like, the mitigated gall to even try to do this. I said, no, I need to know about it. The answers, made sure it showed up on my timeline, my feed. Let's listen to him. Here's the problem with everything he's saying. Our government surveils everything. They were surveilling everything back then. They know what was coming in. How did we get plugs? We had to get tapped in. They were the plugs. You don't just, you just can't randomly find somebody who do that type of stuff. They knew they was over here. They knew what they was over here for. They know what they was over here for. And they know we had a power base. Our unity was our power base. So you trying to say the government didn't have surveillance back then? The wiretaps, the phone taps and all this stuff? We just happened to skirt on the radar? Because remember, Freeway Rick was talking on the phone. That's how they got him, because he didn't know to talk in code. So they knew. They knew what was going on. They let you make a nice chunk of money, and they come tear the whole neighborhood up, because they can lock up 30, 40 people now on a RICO. Another thing, at the same time they was infecting our neighborhoods with this poison, they were taking woodworking, auto shop, and all these other trades out of high school. Because my dad was the last generation. He was born in '63. He was one of the last generations that had woodworking and shop and all these things as elective that you can go to through his high school. And as soon as you get out of high school, you can go straight to work. They made us economically viable. Go straight to work, no college, no loans, no none of that. Because remember, there was a time, and I'm part of that time, where they were saying, black folk, if you just send your kids to college, we'll give them jobs. And so guess what? I was encouraged, hey, go to school, go to college. They didn't say what for. And they knew we was just going to go in there with the counselors. Well, what do you want to do? The Quadrion. And you're like, so that's why I like this. We have a degree for that. No one don't pay nothing. I got suckered in that, along with a whole bunch of us. We was there while you in school, man. My parents told me to go. A lot of parents told me to go. Parents told me to go. See, it's a different thing where you can just go straight to work in the trade and make damn good money. Also remember, there used to be the warehouse or the plant was in our neighborhoods. We used to walk there. So I ain't got to get a loan on a car. What I need to do all that, I can just walk to work. I know all my neighbors. Went to work together, went to church together, had a pension, was able to retire, was able to afford a house. If they did buy a car, they was able to get the car they wanted. One of my co-workers now, his dad used to work for GM. He remembered the time where they had a catalog, and anything that was in that catalog, you can get on pretty much any GM vehicle that they have. Some of y'all are old enough to remember that. So when he say these things, I know he didn't do a lot of sightings. Like, well, there was an investigation. The people who was poisonous investigate themselves. Similar to when the police investigate themselves after they murder us. Okay. Yeah, that's credible. And last but not least, the disrespect of just don't smoke crack. A lot of us was poisoned. We didn't even know what it was. They had informants in our neighborhoods, dudes that you was like, man, what you doing out, man? Oh man, they could know me, damn man. Hey man, you smoke? What you doing? Hey man, you try it. Try it. It's fun. They worked overtime to destabilize our communities. We didn't just happen to have all this access to all this, to drug cartels, really. We just had, out of all the folk in America, the folk they've been trying to kill out of existence, deport, or they can deport, try to trick us into going to Africa out of existence, to kill our mothers in the hospitals out of existence, kill the babies, get the black men locked up out of existence. We had all this access to drug cartels and the pipeline to crack cocaine, or cocaine period, because it was cocaine before it became crack cocaine, which was a more acceptable drug. But anyway, B1 family, we're going to continue to go hard body all year. We're going to continue to discuss our history. We're going to continue to tighten up the reins. We're going to continue to push this delineation movement, because we have already delineated, but we're delineating more. We're taking it to the next steps and levels that we need to make sure we protect ourselves in the future. Peace and Black empowerment.